Hi, welcome
To episode 1.
of stuff. We don't have a name. It'll get
We
a
don't
name.
have a name yet, but if you have any good ones,
Let us know.
yeah. We posting this on YouTube?
Um, do we want to? We could.
I don't see why not.
All right, yeah. I'll put when we're done. I'll push it over to YouTube. Yeah. Comments down below. Give us a fucking name, please. Outsource creativity. That's the best way to do things.
Yeah.
Uh, um.
Yeah, outsourcing.
So, do you want to give your actual name? Are you cool with that?
Sure.
All right. Y'all probably don't know me if you're fans of the channel. I usually have a fucking hood on. Uh, I'll be Jake. Co-host
Josh.
Josh. Main host Josh. He's gonna be the host. Fuck it.
Oh, no.
You're in charge. I'm in charge
If
of
I'm the
everything
host,
else.
that means I got
And
ridiculous.
webcam lagged. Oh, no, okay, it's back. Yeah, no, you're the host, man. I'm the host of everything else. Screw that.
Yeah. Hosting seems like work.
Sorry about the eating of food. But not really terribly sorry.
Man's gotta eat.
Yeah.
As a big dude, I'm very aware of that. A purveyor of foods,
Yeah.
one might call it.
Yeah, this isn't gonna be a professional quality. We're just mostly here to talk a bunch of crap about fantasy stuff, magic, interactions of magic, different magic systems.
Yeah.
Um,
We've spent a lot of time talking in Discord about this stuff, and we were like, hey, why not record it?
yeah. Um,
Because I just find these topics interesting.
yeah.
Like, stuff like how. What spell was it? One second. I'm gonna find it in a minute.
God. What is D&D Beyond gotta be
Stuff
like?
like how catapult is a transmutation spell.
God damn, that makes no fucking sense. Oh my god, yeah.
I knew I'd find one.
Yeah. So like, yeah, we both have a lot of experience, a decent amount of experience with fifth edition D&D. Maybe not as some other people, but we're smart boys. I think we're smart boys. So, yeah, like, what the hell? Why is it transmutation? Like,
I don't know. You'd think it'd be evocation, right?
yeah, because you're applying an energy to something. What? Because telekinesis is also transmutation. At least they're consistent with it, but I don't understand.
Yeah. Transmutation, or not I mean, telekinesis. For some reason, I can see that being transmutation. I don't know why.
What?
Maybe because you're affecting a physical object and not just shooting energy.
Well, I mean, one could make the same argument for, like, catapult.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that maybe catapult should be transmutation?
I don't know. When I think of
Even though I have this feeling that all damaging spells should be evocation. Well, not all of them. Stuff like Phantasmal Killer and stuff are obviously illusion spells. Or are they enchantment? They are illusion.
They're illusion, yeah.
We could make an argument for enchantment.
That Phantasmal Killer and Phantasmal Force should be enchantment.
There is an argument to be had there. because it affects their mental state. It's not just conjuring an illusion.
See, yeah, I get that. That's why, like, so in the now Thursday game, old Sunday game, I actually have an illusion wizard, and I always kind of struggle with whether or not like the phantasmal force illusions should be seen by other people.
Um, you craft an illusion that takes root in the mind of a creature. So and it includes sound, temperature, and other stimuli only
Mm-hmm.
evident to the creature. So I would say no. It does not appear for other creatures.
Yeah, but it's still an illusion, and it's in the illusion spells
Oh, wait.
list.
It says it right there. It says on a failed save, you create a phantasmal object, creature, or other visible phenomenon of your choice that is no longer larger than a 10-foot cube and that is only perceivable to the target.
I don't like that though, cause yeah, because with that, then I would 100% try and like push towards like enchantment.
Yeah.
Because I guess now we're at like it's what's the question of like what is illusion?
Yeah.
Hmm. No, I don't like that. I don't like that's only perceived by the target.
I do like that. And I like that I I really think the thing that makes that spell good is the fact that the target will attempt to make it logical.
Yeah.
It will rationalize anything illogical that happens.
Yeah.
So if you make it see a bridge and it falls through the bridge, it will say, "Oh, I must have misstepped."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I like that.
But the part that always gets me with this spell is that DMs take every chance they have to roll an investigation when you really have to think about if the target would even think about illusion spells.
Yeah,
Like if you use this on a peasant, he's not gonna even think about it
your run of
because
the
they
mill
don't.
guard.
Yeah, they wouldn't roll an investigation because they aren't subjected to magic this often,
Yeah.
and it causes them to rationalize it even if something weird happens.
Yeah, but like so man, the issue with that line though is that I would take as someone who plays more of a DM is that people always it kind of makes it seem like no one would ever roll an investigation check on it because they're rationalizing it. They're already doing that, so they'll just be like,
Yeah,
unless maybe someone else tells them
yeah.
or tries to
That's
snap
what.
them out.
That's what I don't like when I watch a D&D show and the DM has the target make an intelligence save or investigation on the very first turn after it's affected them, and I'm like, that's not how that it would work. It would attempt to rationalize it until it couldn't.
Yeah. Unless if it was a caster. Usually, if it's like a caster or like a very high
Yeah,
intelligence enemy, then maybe.
yeah,
And it's also like if they fell with like phantasmal force or any illusion, like maybe first time they fell, like why would they roll again? Why would they keep trying to break it? After a certain point, they have to be like, no, this is really real. I failed my 3
yeah,
investigation rolls. Like this is real.
yeah, and it only lasts a minute. First of all, you have no idea how many times I've used this spell to fleece shopkeepers.
Oh
I
God.
just pull up with a crown on my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Oh. Oh man. Illusion's always one of those tricky ones because I've heard a lot of stuff where it's like a lot of people don't like to go into illusion because it is so heavily DM dependent and because DMs a lot of the times take those I'm going to just roll investigation over and over and over again until it breaks. Or they're
Yeah.
like, oh no, this goblin isn't really afraid of this, so that it's not going to do anything to them.
Yeah.
So like a lot of like the minor illusion, major illusion
Yeah.
stuff.
If you're going to be an illusion wizard, you have to have a good DM.
Mm-hmm.
I will also take this moment to say any DM is a good DM. Bless all DMs. They're great people.
Oh no, man! Go check out. I would say there's a fantastic YouTube channel out there called Crit Crab, which tends to tell a lot of D&D horror stories. There's some bad DMs out there.
Yes, there are, but anyone who volunteers to DM are blessed people. They are rare people, and we should love them. Because I have DM'd before, and it is a lot of work. And I usually just fly by the seat of my pants.
I kind of don't want to say this because you are one of my players, but I do that a lot too.
Oh, yeah. But you have stuff written down. Me? I don't even have a notebook, man. I just go.
Like,
I forget names 24/7. Like,
oh, fuck off with names.
yeah.
Names are the worst.
Yeah, but you give people fantasy names. I'm just like, yeah, his name is Ray. And then, like, 2 sessions later, I've forgotten this dude's name, even though they see him every time.
Do you own Mordekainen's Tome of Foes?
No, I do not.
Or not more? Is it Mordekainen's? No, I think it's Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
I don't own that one either.
Get it. So in the back of the book, Xanathar's Guide to Everything has names. Hundreds of names. For elves, orcs, humans of different cultures like Egyptian, Arabic, English, American names, Russian names. It is a godsend. Here, let me...
Oh, I bet. Thing is, I'm not to toot my own horn, but I feel like
names. More names. More names.
oh my god, that's great.
Pages of names. That's 2 pages.
Oh no, what have I been doing?
All on a D100 roll table. Elvish names, Dwarvish names, Dragonborn clan names, Dwarvish female, male, Dwarf clan names. More names. It is a godsend.
Interesting topic. Do dwarven females have beards?
I would say depends
I
on
like
what
how-
world you're playing in.
Yeah. I like how Matt Mercer did it.
How did he do it?
I believe there was a dwarf in what was the city? The gnomish city where they make all the siege engines?
Yeah. I know what place you're talking about.
Yeah. There was a dwarven female there, and she had like a chin strap beard,
Just like a little fuzziness.
like well kept. I thought that was an interesting take.
No question though. Do
I like
certain subspecies of dwarves have females have beards and others don't?
interesting.
Like, does
I don't
a
I don't remember what it was from. I think it was from a book I read, but it was part of the lore that dwarves they braided their beards in certain way to denote like certain things about their life. Like there's a marriage braid, and like just different achievements and stuff have different braids.
yeah, I like that. And then you could do
That is
like
really cool.
your like social ranking within like your dwarvish clan.
Yeah.
Could be like the material because like does like a hill dwarf female not have a beard but a male or but a female like mountain dwarf does? They're hardier.
Oh, absolutely. Female mountain dwarves have beards. That's not even a question.
And then there's just the weird ass creepy Dwagar. We were enslaved. No, we're not. Mind
But
Flayer
we're
are evil. Yeah. Well, that's because they're all pissed at like Mordrin, and they're like, "Oh, Mordrin didn't help us. No,
Guess we gotta kill everyone now.
fuck them." Yeah. And we have weird mixture of like telepathic capabilities and size changing capabilities for some fucking reason. They don't make sense to me.
Mm.
But we're a far cry from magic now.
That is true. But I love side conversations.
Yeah. Okay.
This all started with Catapult.
Yes. This all started with Catapult. So, why isn't 5th edition? I know it's a bit less of what 5th edition's about and what D&D in general is about, but I feel like the game would do a lot better if they just had one book that came out with like large scale battle and a subsection of like spells for it.
Oh, absolutely.
Where it's like, this is how you handle like 100+ people in a combat. You know, here's spells for casters, and like bump up like the casting time so they're not like these massive AoE spells that they could just like pop off in a fucking dungeon. Be like, yeah, it takes them like 10 minutes to cast because, you know, a caster's not going to be front line. They're going to be a bit further back. So you could be like, here's like a 10-minute cast time spell. Like a 10-minute cast time earthquake.
You want to make a book?
Fuck. Let's put that to the side.
Because I've been thinking about making some stuff like that. Like, just for this campaign we're in. Check out our campaign on Saturdays.
They're all on YouTube besides yesterday's. I haven't put that one over yet.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been thinking about having Loomis make some siege spells and actually teaching them to the wizard corps that I'm making. You know how dangerous we'd be if we were the only nation with like large scale siege spells? Just a spell that says no, screw your wall.
Yeah.
Just deletes walls.
But like, here's the other thing. This is why like, man, this is why like having a careful balance of how many magic users in a world has to be, because like, what's stopping? Like, what level's Dimension Door? 3rd?
That's a good question. I don't have that spell. I'll tell you in a second. Dimension Door, 4th level.
4th level. So, oh man, what is that? Like 7th level? That full caster gets? Yeah, 7th level. So like, that's a 7th level caster. Dimension Door is someone like right up to the castle or into the castle. Let's say it's at night, you're stealthing up, dimension door in, set a fucking bomb, dimension door out. Big asshole in your castle wall now. You're not gonna have like the same like military formations because you have shit like fireball going off. You know, if you're a powerful cleric with like earthquake or something, it's like one of these people, one high level full blooded caster can like decimate a military if you're from a strong location. War is just not gonna look the same. Why are you gonna have a giant like wooden battering ram when a dude could just be casting fireballs at it?
That's a whole rabbit hole.
It is. But is this not why we made the podcast?
It is. I suppose. Well, that can be substituted for metal battering rams, even though they would be heavier.
Harder to push, more expensive to build.
Mm-hmm.
But then you just... you have like an earthquake. You know, depending on how much time they have, and back to illusion, hallucinatory terrain is an extremely powerful illusion spell.
Well, I like to take that a 5th level caster is a powerful person.
Yeah, it's even like labeled across a few of the books like that. Because it'll be like, it requires a powerful spell, and then it will always give like 3rd level examples for it.
And I feel like that's the limit that normal people would go to, because at that point they're like, I've made it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a powerful person. No one's going to mess with me.
Yeah.
Anyone who goes further than that is someone who's not in it for the benefits. They're in it to learn. They're in it to become strong. They have goals.
Yeah.
And their goals are usually not working for the military of some country.
Mm-hmm.
People like Corleth and Vander.
Yeah.
Who are doing their own thing, researching, finding the secrets of the universe.
Yeah.
Or just being crazy.
Mm-hmm. Like
people like Loomis searching for immortality.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if we push it to like a cleric, I don't see a huge reason why. Well, maybe depending on how you like have clerics progress, where it's like this is gifted by the god allows them to be more powerful. But even then, like I don't see a major reason for a god to ever go, my cleric's powerful enough. Like, you'd think they would want them to be as powerful as possible. Because the more powerful the cleric is, unless it's something where it's like, this god can only make a cleric as, like, X amount of powerful. Because that's how powerful the god is. So, like, I don't see a reason why, like, a cleric would ever get limited like that, besides something weird like the god's power limit. Like, they would want them to be as powerful as they could possibly make them, because a more powerful cleric preaching their name is going to get more followers to them.
I raise you this. What if their body can't handle it? Or their soul can't handle it?
Yeah, I can see that. Like, there's a physical limitation on the actual person.
Yeah.
Well, physical, metaphysical.
Yeah. And that's why adventurers get powerful so fast, is that they're out here fighting and suffering hardships and whatnot, and it makes their body and soul tougher.
Yeah. But, yeah, like, it's just...
And some people just be built different. Like, I know that's a meme, but, like, it's real.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely one of those things where it's like you could definitely reason around it, uh, very well. A handful with like a few like logical trains, but at the same time it would be. But then I would counter that with like, why would a god choose someone who can't handle a higher level of power?
Not everyone can be a cleric. There are plenty of priests and stuff that are not
Yeah,
clerics.
yeah, no, but like I'm like for specific cleric duties, because usually I would always think is like a priest is someone who chose that religion and then raised up, whereas the cleric is chosen by the god. Why would a god choose a cleric that can't handle the full strength of a cleric, like a level 20 cleric?
Well, I would I would say that a cleric chose the religion and then was showed enough faith or loyalty or potential,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a difference between capability of holding that power and potential to one day be able to hold that power.
Yeah.
And they're gods, so they could see if someone has the potential to grow.
Yeah.
So it may not be now, it may not be in 10 years, but eventually they will be able to handle that power. Or maybe they just need a cleric, and
They're just desperate.
yeah, like Vecna.
Yeah. Like, it's definitely one of those things where. I don't know. Oh my god, fucking Reddit. Um. Hmm. Hmm. But. Yeah. Like. I don't know. I think Siege Warfare would definitely be different with stuff like. To go back to the rooting conversation. Like, anytime there's like a disagreement between gods and that's causing nations to war, like they're gonna send their clerics. They're gonna send their like powerful clerics. I would think. Any, I would say like any wealthy enough kingdom would probably push to hire like a high powerful wizard for their side, and a wizard still needs wealth. Like they still need gold. They still need to be able to fund their experiments and their research.
That is true.
So I
And the
think,
question is, how much does a wizard cost? And I would dare say a lot.
yeah. But if you could get like 1/10 level wizard, even if you have to like spend, let's say like if you're a normal standing army of like 30,000 people, because more medieval numbers, which I will never say D&D, even like Faerun is a medieval stationed world, because they got a bunch of other crap in them that would push them away, rooted from because they have magic, and gods that interact with them. So like, so let's say it's like 30,000 people, and that costs them like 10,000 gold pieces, or like an equivalent like 40,000 gold pieces a year to supply, feed, pay, all that stuff. And like a wizard costs 10,000, but that's a 10th level wizard, and they need it for like one large fight.
I would say that's cheap for a 10th level wizard.
For one battle.
For one battle? Actually, yeah. For one battle, that's cool.
Like I would definitely be like, oh okay, yeah, that 10th level wizard is just gonna be chucking fireballs around.
For sure, for sure.
They're gonna be throwing, oh man, 4th, 5th level spells. They're gonna be like absolute, well, not 5th level, but 4th level spells. They're gonna be like absolutely fucking shit up.
Thing is, you don't get good AoEs until 3rd level spells.
Yeah, or like pay like 5th level wizards, like get 5 of them and spend 1,000 gold pieces per fight with them. Like they're gonna fuck shit up just by themselves. Keep them in the back. Have them garrisoned with a squad of troops to protect them. They'll absolutely demolish shit. Yeah, powerful alchemy. The whole. Oh. I just think everything would look completely different. Formations would be different. Fights would be different.
Absolutely.
Siege would be different. Depending on how you roll enchantment. Enchanting of items, daily life in the wealthier areas of your world would look completely different. Like your Waterdeep of the world would 100% be different. Like they're not gonna have like candles lighting the streets. They're gonna find some way to make an arcane lampposts that light up at night.
Yeah. Trying to. So, another thing I'm interested in is stuff like macro enchantment. The large scale enchantments. Not like enchanted items, but like enchanted buildings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or even going so far as to enchant land.
Yeah, because
that's an interesting topic.
Yeah. Hollowed spells. What happens if you cast hallucinatory terrain in this one spot every day for a year? Are you just able to hide your shit?
Or does it become real?
Yeah, or does the illusion become real? You made your little oasis in the middle of a desert. You're a powerful I think the illusion would become permanent. I probably wouldn't go as far as saying the illusion becomes real.
But it's still interesting to think about.
Like what? Oh, man.
Yeah, that'd be more along the lines of conjuration.
Or yeah. I'm trying to see if there's any like massive transmutation spells like that, but it doesn't seem like it.
No. No. Yeah, that's definitely something I need to work on, is making large scale spells.
Yeah. Any spell that sort of affects a large area. I feel like there needs to be more of that within 5th edition.
Let's talk about a specific spell.
Let's talk about which spell you got on, man.
Because I've been looking at this spell, and it's a really cool spell, except it's horrendously useless. It's called Sickening Radiance from Xanathar's Guide to Everything.
Let me pull it up.
It is a 4th level spell.
How is it useless? Read us the spell.
Dim greenish light spreads within a 30-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose within range. The light spreads around corners and lasts until the spell ends. When a creature moves into the spell's area for the first time on a turn, or starts its turn there, that creature must succeed on a Constitution saving throw or take 4d10 radiant damage and suffer 1 level of exhaustion, and emit a dim greenish light in a 5-foot radius. This light makes it impossible for the creature to benefit from being invisible. The light and any levels of exhaustion caused by this spell go away when the spell ends. You've seen me use this spell once. In the fight with the Dracolich. And it succeeded its first saving throw and moved out of the area.
Well, with that, I would probably say that's not the spell's fault. It's like, oh man, it's like flaming sphere. If you were to cast this in a dungeon in a small tight area, like this is,
I suppose,
horrifying. Because like you're gonna like 4d10 radiant damage. That's a lot of damage. And if anything's gonna be able to like start living through that or get healed through like the damage in a tight area, they still only got 8 rounds to live.
not even.
The
They have
exhaustion?
6 rounds to let.
Yeah.
6 rounds.
6 level. I was thinking there's 8 levels of exhaustion. Yeah,
No.
6 levels. 6 rounds to live. Like in a tight area, absolutely will wreck shit.
Yeah. But all this did in our fight with the Dracolich was make that 40-foot area unusable.
Complete control of the battlefield in that area. You get to use it to shift a person into a direction, push them out of an area, use it as a wall. You guys you move back through like a portcullis, cast this on the portcullis. Like, great for escaping. Getting chased by guards through an area. Just run through an area, run through an alleyway, cast this into the alleyway.
I feel like this is a lot to be used on guards. I feel like this is a lot.
Fine,
This
fine.
is
You're in the 9 hells being chased by devils. By devil guards.
Alright.
There we is.
now we're getting somewhere.
Not normal human guards.
I feel like I don't want to destroy an entire city just because the guards are chasing me. Because it spreads around corners.
Yes.
So if there's any open windows in this alleyway, we're gonna have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
That would be real unfortunate for the residents.
Wait. Important question though. So, sickening radiance, it's the physical light that's touching you. It says it spreads around corners, but wouldn't that light also go through windows? Also, here's another use
When
case.
a creature moves into the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there.
I would rule this as it would go through windows as well. So, oh man, how tall is a 2-story tall building?
That's a good question. I'd say liberal estimate 20 feet.
2-story house height. Because here's the thing.
At least
Yeah,
20
about
feet.
20 about 20 feet, yeah. So you got a 3-story tall building. Cast this just right in the middle. Right on the 3rd floor. You could-
Cast it on the ground. It's a 40-foot sphere. It goes 40 foot up, 40 foot down.
Within a 30-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose.
Oh, sorry. 30 feet. Cast it on the ground floor.
Yeah, you could
It's
absolutely wreck a building.
you could wreck a 6-story building.
Entire building just dead. Everyone inside.
Barricade the door. It
Mm-hmm.
is absolutely over.
Mm-hmm.
My only problem with this spell is that you can't use it in the open, and it affects allies.
Well, most AoE spells do.
Most do, yes,
Yeah.
but stuff like spiritual guardians, I don't think does.
No. You choose the creature with spiritual guardians.
Yeah,
Um.
and that is the only change I would make to this spell.
I mean, if you're an evocation wizard, then you could at least
Yeah,
have them like make the save and stuff like that. Um.
well, wizards can just say you're not affected.
Okay. I'm like I always mix up whether or not it's affected or yeah, take no damage.
Yeah, you
If
can
they would
just make a
normally
little bubble
take half.
around them.
Yeah. But yeah, like this is just like your fucking like chemical warfare shit. The building's still standing because it's not like fireball. You're not gonna burn the building down. They just die. Now they could try and escape. Some might escape, but if you barricade the door, they might jump out the window that they live. The first set of damage.
That's what we should have done to the queen. Screw your mansion. No one's safe.
But like, I don't know. I think that's a baller spell. It's definitely not as good in like an open fight, where like, you're in the
Yeah.
forest on a trail or something like that, in a courtyard, but like in a dungeon, in city streets where you absolutely don't care about collateral damage. Just
So, what you're telling me is that I've just made Loomis significantly even more dangerous in dungeons.
mhm mhm.
Even
This
though he's already completely broken because he has a purple worm that can just make its own tunnels.
yeah, you need to relax with that in the dungeon. Some people like to do dungeons, my good sir.
I know, and that's the only reason I don't do it. Is because Theron has told me that he would rather do the dungeon normally. So instead, the only thing I do that breaks the dungeon is send my familiar through it, so I can map out the entire dungeon.
Mhm. Um. Yeah, I think it's no. You want to know what spell that I think is one of the worst spells? That's not Oh god, what's that stupid spell called? That gives you like advantage on your next attack and is a concentration.
Oh,
No one takes it. It's absolutely fucking pointless. It's a concentration too.
do you know what level it is?
It's a cantrip.
True Strike.
True strike, yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
So beyond that, the next worst spell in my opinion, Skywrite. Why?
No, no,
No?
sir.
You think it's good?
Skywrite. Skywrite is so good. I love Skywrite, and I will take it every chance I get.
It's oh my god. Is this it's good because of memes?
Partially, but also
Okay.
imagine how
Mhm.
terrifying it would be to get a message in the sky that just says you're all going to die. And then just fireballs start exploding everywhere. It's such a great spell. And I've never gotten the chance to use it, and I want to use it so much.
I don't know. I just think it's so.
It's so good for roleplay.
That's about like even then like
And
It's
I
so
am a
niche.
sucker for roleplay. I don't even like combat in D&D. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not even here for the combat. I don't understand people who like D&D combat. I'm just here to make broken magical items and to do weird stuff, like turn myself into a dragon.
Like, I get it. It's full of flavor. You could do some stuff with it, like intimidation effects. But I don't know. There's so
The
many.
only problem with it is it has no effect in combat.
No, not even that. I'm fine with non-combat. I think like thaumaturgy and prestidigitation are like some of the greatest spells because you could do
Absolutely.
so much with them. My issue with Skywrite is it's very particular on what it could do. It's
One
very
second.
specific.
Skywrite.
It's a concentration, takes an action to cast.
That is true. It's only 10 words and it's only words.
And a strong wind can disperse the clouds. Hey, guess what? A lot of times, high up in the air, there's a lot of strong winds. That happens a lot. I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I would say if they added the ability to upcast it,
Like, I would think
bump it down to first level
Mm-hmm.
and add the ability to upcast.
Add the ability to upcast. And I would think if it wasn't just words, it would be better. Like, if you could be like, I want a fucking, like, cloud dragon to be flying through the sky.
And also, if you could make it out of thunder clouds or like dark clouds or not just stuffy white clouds.
Yeah, but the issue is that if there's thunderclouds, there's probably gonna be high winds.
That high wind rule is stupid.
Well, a lot of gas spells have that too. A lot of gas spells have a strong wind can blow this away. So it's like, but then does gust?
That is what I was about to say. Is they should take away the strong wind, and say that spells such as gust or wind spells like that could dispel it.
So here's my thing though. Gust is a cantrip. Are there any other wind spells that you know of off the top of your head?
I think not off the top of my head, but there is warding wind, gust of wind.
Because, like, I know there's spells that are like a lot of the gaseous ones. The issue I have with them though is that like like a lot of the gaseous ones like that create an area of effect of like moving gas or fire or something like that. The thing is they tend to either say like a strong wind or give an exact number. Like a wind of 10 miles per hour or faster will blow this away. But there's no wind spells that give that speed.
Well.
So like, oh man, what's there like?
Okay, so
gust of wind's
here
just
you go.
strong wind.
Gust of wind says a line of strong wind, and then it says the gust disperses gas or vapor. It extinguishes candles, torches, or similar unprotected flames.
So with that, like, I don't know. I just wish they gave like an actual range or speed of it.
Warding wind. A strong wind, 20 miles per hour,
There, thank you.
blows around you in a 10-foot radius.
So, because they both use strong wind.
I would say that a strong wind is 20 miles per hour.
Okay. But then gust of wind.
Yeah. You are absolutely correct. Also, I'm thinking about creating a spell book
What do you mean?
in our campaign. Okay. New discussion. There are no good spell books. There's like +1 spell book.
Oh, like an item that affects
Yeah.
magic casting. Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's the Tome of the
Stilled tongue.
the Tome of the Still Tongue, and that's like it.
No, those. I was thinking of like the Book of Good Deeds, but I don't think that gives really a bonus to magic.
I don't think that's a spell book. See,
Technically not. No.
there's the Enduring spell book, which is just very hard to destroy it.
I mean, it's one of those things where the casters are already like super powerful and very versatile overall. So, like, I fully understand why there's not a whole lot of that stuff, but it is still frustrating.
Yeah, the Book of Exalted Deeds is not a spell book.
Yeah, but I think with their beneficial properties from the table, you can get bonuses to spell casting.
I just feel like it's weird for there to be 2 spell books. One is a common item and one is a legendary.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's weird that that's all there is. Like, if you're going to make a magic item, don't just make 2 types.
Yeah.
One highest rarity, one lowest rarity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they didn't even think about it.
Wizards of the Coast thinking about some of the stuff they put out there? Nah. They definitely don't do that.
Yeah. Also, I might need to cop some of these tomes. They're just very rares. Tome of Understanding, Tome of Leadership, Tome of Clear Thought. Ooh. Yeah, I definitely need a Tome of Clear Thought, like, immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a bunch of staffs.
There are a bunch of staves.
And wands.
Wands are lame. Wands will always be lame.
Why are wands lame?
Because they're wands.
Come on, give a better answer to that. Let's go. Let's do this.
Because
Get into this.
Dainty little sticks. And it makes me so mad. I hate them. I hate them so much.
No.
Why are all the cool stuff wands? What is a failed experiment wand? Hold up. Hold up.
That's new. Cast a green flamed fireball or a blue lightning bolt. What book is this from?
It doesn't look like it's from a book.
Acquisitions Incorporated. Okay, that makes sense.
I love that book. That book makes me so happy.
It's a great book. I love the shows too. It's awesome.
Their shows?
Yeah. It's by Penny Arcade, so PAX. because they run the PAX expos and conventions. So they would do a D&D game during the PAX conventions. It was Chris Perkins running it, who was the lead story developer.
Love
And then,
that,
like,
man.
now it's I always forget his fucking name. Lead rules designer for D&D runs it now. Fuck. I'm gonna look up his Twitter because I could always find his Twitter easier. Because he does sage advice stuff.
Jeremy Crawford.
Yes, Jeremy Crawford. He runs it now.
Okay.
So yeah, it's also canon.
What?
Acquisitions Incorporated.
I love it.
It's
such a good book.
So Omen Draw is an actual masked Lord of Waterdeep, who's the leader of Acquisitions Incorporated.
Isn't that book like based around running businesses? Isn't there like a whole chapter on running businesses in D&D?
So like
I love it.
Yeah, so like the whole thing of like Acquisitions Incorporated is they're an adventuring business / like mercenary guild ran by Omen Drawn, and yeah, he's supposed to be like the contract person. He writes huge contracts, and he's a huge dick. So like in one of the episodes, there's Viari, which is played by Patrick Rothfuss. And they're like,
why do I know that, man?
Because I've talked to you about him. He writes the King Killer Chronicles.
Ah, yes.
Continue. So like, there's a line where he's like, where Viari's like almost dead. He has like 1 hit point left, and he's like, "Oh man, can you heal me?" He's like, "I'm not contractually obliged to heal you." He goes, "I look through my contract." I'm going, "Oh, yep, nope, right there. Damn it. All right, sorry about that." Because Omen Drawn's a cleric. He's like, "No, you deserve this death. You deserve that damage."
Fair enough.
But filled experimental wand.
This is such a great wand. Also, the Wand of Wonder.
Yep. Great magical item. Wand of detection.
What is a Wand of Secrets, sir?
It like shows any secret doors and stuff like that. It reveals them to you.
I might want one of those.
Really good for like heavy dungeon delve campaigns.
Why is a Wand of Polymorph so very rare?
Because it's polymorph, dude.
Come on, son.
You get 7 casts of polymorph from it.
Fair enough.
That's a lot of polymorphs. I will say some of the most interesting magic items are the staffs.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, was it Staff of Power? Staff of Power is definitely like one of the more interesting items out there. With you're able to destroy it at will, and if you do, you get teleported to another dimension at random. It has like...
I myself am very partial to the wondrous items.
The silliness of the wondrous items.
Not just the silliness, but the cool stuff. Oh, there's what I'm looking for. It's under wondrous items. Arcane Grimoire. That's pretty cool.
See, I thought you were gonna say, due to your Ioun Stone, the all-purpose tool. But that...
Yes, sir.
And I was about to go, but it requires attunement by an artificer, but you have artificer levels.
I am indeed 2 levels of artificer.
So you can, you get attuned to that, and then you don't have to keep buying toolkits.
Hold up.
You
Plus
also
3 all-purpose tool. Plus 3 bonus to spell attack rolls and saving. Oh, for my artificer spells.
yes
That's stupid.
for only your
Useless.
artificer.
Useless. Although I might need that.
You know what Angus needs to get? The
Yeah.
Amulet of the Drunkard.
Oh, let me look this up.
This amulet smells of old ale-stained wood. While wearing it, you can gain 44 plus 4 points when you drink a pint of beer, ale, mead, or wine.
I need that in real life.
I think everyone does.
Amulet of the Plains. That's
Arcane
cool amulet.
Grimoire.
It's basically.
Oh yeah, that's pretty damn solid.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Arcane Canon. I want them to come out with a book. 2 books. One of them just being like a 200-page book, and they're just like, here's spells. Here's just more spells. Then
Hold up. Wait. Grimoire Infinitus? What is this?
I don't know. Dude, I'm not able to keep up with all the crap anymore. Infinitus. What book is it from?
It doesn't tell me. But
Explorer's Guide to Wild. Oh, it's a Matt Mercer book. That's why it's good.
Yes,
Matt Mercer
sir.
makes great items.
You hear that, D&D? Wizard of the Coast? Step it up.
Grimoire. Exalted, Awakened.
Good God, even the dormant one is OP.
Yeah, you just... Most of the book is blank. Oh shit, yeah, you get all those spells, which that's a fuck ton of spells. You can also prepare an extra spells.
Yeah.
Advantage on saving throws against spells and magical effects. Jeez. Arcane recovery twice a day instead of once. Or twice per long rest.
Is that the Exalted?
Yeah. Mislead tiny.
Oh, so the Awakened one allows you 2 extra spells, and the Exalted one allows you 3 extra spells. Okay. Ooh. Okay, after this podcast is over, I think I'm going to have to work on a spell book. And you know it's going to be really cool, because I can't do anything without aesthetics.
Gotta look pretty damn fly.
Well, I can do aesthetics in imaginary roleplay, but if you put me in a game like RimWorld or Prison Architect, it just looks like trash. The whole thing. Function. It is a very long hallway with a bunch of wings.
The only thing
That is
efficiency.
It is, dude. That's what I do. I make a very long hallway, and I make a bunch of rooms. Screw looking nice. It works.
So back. Let's get.
This is what we're here for. Random talks about
Yeah.
magic items.
Magic items, magic stuff in the world, spells. I feel okay. Ranger.
I'm interested.
Should they really be? I always go kind of back and forth, and I usually put this up to the player. Should every ranger be considered a spellcaster? Because here's my logic.
Elaborate.
So, are all the ranger spells, you could kind of roleplay them and flavor them to not actually be spells.
Okay.
So it's one of those things where it's like, if you're flavoring something to not be a spell, can it be like counterspelled or dispelled? So, like, let me pull up like ranger spell list, which not like all of the rangers can be considered like a non-spellcaster, like a Horizon Walker or something like that. It's like, no, they're using fucking magic.
Yeah.
But it's like something where it's like alarm. Well, doesn't have to necessarily be magical. It could literally just be some twine and a rope, or twine and the bell. Cure wounds.
But if you're doing it as the telepathic one,
yeah. If you're doing it like that, then yeah. But like something like cure wounds, what if it's less of like they're doing a magical spell to stitch the wounds, but no, they're actually just like grabbing supplies. They know what herbs to pull, plants to pull, fungus to
then you're
pull as they're
walking
traveling.
into the territory of the healer feat and the herbalism kit.
Well, it's like they have that understanding of like nature and stuff. They have that connection. So like a more direct example could be like Lord of the Rings when Frodo gets stabbed, and Aragorn's just like, "Yo, do you know this herb? Go fucking get it." And then that would be like cure wounds. Is he knows how to make a poultice out of these materials, and it's just being like mechanically waved as a spell, and that's the resource being consumed. Just like you kind of separate it and like start to flavor it as everything's like, this ranger's not magic. They're not using cure wounds. They're not using detect
But
magic.
At the same time, the way it's written, they're able to be counterspelled.
Well, that would become into like how your world works and stuff like that. And if you're flavoring it as like a non actual spell, and it's more just like they're using these more naturally occurring things, like, can it be counterspelled? Where these are more like feats that they use.
See, I think we're having differing mindsets here. Whereas you're thinking of changing the rules, I'm trying to figure out how to work around the rules.
Well, this is why I always put it like up to the player of like, do you want it to be magic or do you want it to be a non-magical thing where it's more of just like the knowledge of this character, and you're still using like the it's like an artificer sort of, where it's like, can an artificer be counterspelled because it's flavored as he's getting tools and alchemical potions and stuff outside and reproducing the effect of the spell.
See, I always like the flavor of he's bringing out the magic in mundane items. So, like, yes, his acid splash is throwing a vial of acid, but he's made the acid magical.
Yeah, but now with that, it's like he's still throwing acid.
Yes. But what if it's like WD 40 and he's just made it magical so it hurts?
Yeah, like you could 100% do that, and that's why I'm like I kind of always put it up to a player because I don't want to like force that on them.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you do that, then why would a player not choose to make it non magical?
Because if they're immune to non-magical damage, it won't have an effect.
Fair.
Yeah.
How would say Druidcraft work?
Druidcraft?
Do Rangers get Druidcraft?
I don't think so. That's the other thing. I'd probably limit the spells that they can choose if they did that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Available only for druids. I'm sure, though, it might be on someone's extended spell list.
Yeah. It's also available to elves.
Yeah.
Certain elves. I don't know if it's all elves. I know sea elves can get it.
Tangle, Searing Smite, Speak with Animals. I'm looking at their extended spell list right now. Disguise Self, Protection from Good and Evil, Misty Step. No, it doesn't seem like it's on any extended spell list. But yeah, it's like I would probably limit them to like the ones that can be excused as like a more natural effect of something that you're connecting to and not an actual magical spell to fit in that.
Mm-hmm.
Or just ask them to be like, yo, like if you're gonna go this way, then you can't choose these ones where it's like like bark skin. Or maybe like protection of poison, silence probably not unless it's like oh no, over your time you collect like these materials that you know you could craft an item from that when thrown it like clogs the throat so they can't speak. Like it creates a smoke effect on a person and then as they breathe it in, it creates like a coat over their vocal cords so they can't speak well enough to cast spells. Or it causes like their throat to swell and close on their vocal cords.
Yeah. Instantly, I think of some sort of spore.
Yeah. So like I'm a big fan of making like seemingly inherently spellcasters or like classified mechanically as spellcasters into no, this isn't really a spellcaster. They're going about it in this weird way, which is going to limit what they could do unless you're able to excuse it through some sort of flavor explanation of the action.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, we still need to get together and make the Mage Slayers.
Yeah. I mean, kind of. What exactly do you... I mean, we got this conversation now or later, but like I would say, like, what exactly do you want to do on that?
I don't know. You mentioned making a class.
Oh, yeah.
Pulling a full Matt Mercer.
That will probably take a bit of time.
Oh, yeah. We could do that, or we could make them a ranger subclass.
Yeah. But yeah.
Which would be the easier route to go,
Mm-hmm.
but
Or before we start getting too terribly off topic of what these conversations are supposed to be, what do you think of making non-magical classes magical?
elaborate.
So, an NPC in your guys' game that you've come, and one of my old PC characters is Amir. He's a barbarian, but the entire source of his barbarian is the tattoos on him. Those made him a barbarian. He's a storm herald of the desert, and him having those tattoos is what gives him the resistance to damage, what sets off the fire AoE around him, gives him the resistance to fire, and what allows him to cast not burning hands. Actually, no, burning hands and control flame as that class. Whereas his entire class is the tattoos. Innately, he's strong, he's resilient, but all of his class features come from that.
Well, I feel like barbarians are already magical.
I mean, you
Storm
can
heralds, at least.
Yeah.
Because no normal person has lightning shooting out of them.
Well, I mean, you could also do just the classic Berserker.
Yeah, Berserker's probably the least magical barbarian.
Where it could be a curse upon them. Or a similar thing where you're just they got tattoos on them and that's what gives them the resistance and whatnot.
Yeah. Or it can just be they have very, very thick skin.
Yeah. But if we want to do an even less magical, a fighter. Just a champion fighter. I would say making that into your source is magic for that. You're unaware of it and you're unaware of the actual, well, not unaware of the magical side, but you're unaware of the functions behind it and where it's sourced from. But you should be that explains the extremely fast reactions, my innate knowledge of all these different weapons and how to use them.
Yeah. I could see that.
I'm a big fan of making magical classes non-magical and non-magical classes magical.
Yeah.
And even then, if I were to play them, I would fully accept all right, if you're in an anti-magic zone or something like that, you don't have these feats. You glow off of detect magic even if don't have any magical gear.
Yeah. But at that point, there's got to be some sort of trade-off.
You can do that. I would 100% say if you want to trade off, that should be up to the DM. But me as a player, I would be perfectly fine if there wasn't.
Why? You're just nerfing yourself.
It's making the option for a more complex encounter to occur. It's giving more work for the DM, more challenge to overcome for the character, to have them come stronger out at the end of the story.
That's actually... So that brings me to a topic as well. How do I phrase this? I don't like level scaler.
What do you mean?
You know how Skyrim scales enemies to your level?
Yeah, so like you wouldn't want like kobolds just to be stronger now.
Yeah. Like, I don't want everywhere I go, everything's as strong as me
Mm-hmm.
just because I am this strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did that before was in Skyrim I used a glitch. I was like level I was fresh out of Helgen
Mm-hmm.
and I was in what is it? Riverwood? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I got my sneak and pickpocketing up to 100.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like level 36 with no combat skills.
Then you're just
And I
getting your
went to,
ass whooped.
yeah. And I went to Bleak Falls Barrow and just got smacked.
Yeah. Oh man,
But at,
there was a
but at the
meme.
same time, if I'm like got 100 in combat, not everything should have the ability to stand against me.
Yeah.
If I go fight some little Draugr, I should be able to just smack them around like little babies.
Yeah. Because like the way Skyrim did it was really weird because it was like certain enemies did have like a level cap. So I think like I mean if I wanted to I could double check from the book, but I'm not going to do that. So like a bandit could only be like level 35, but the issue is like when you're higher than that, those bandits just stopped spawning. So now it'd be like bandit marauder, and those could go up to 45. And they scaled
Yeah.
it like really stupidly. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%
no,
get that.
I want to be able to slaughter.
Yeah, it's like I've done the struggle. Now let me have my power fantasy.
Yes, let me go on a power trip.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, like I've actually like just recently did that with my Thursday game. They went up to an observation tower up in the mountains. They're level 5 currently, and observation tower's been abandoned for decades and decades and decades. And they were trying to retrieve a dwarf who went up there to investigate it. Dwarf wasn't a combat character, and kobolds attacked. So this group of level 5 just went in there and just absolutely demolished these kobolds. Because they all had 5 health, 10 health. And that was a big power trip for them, which was funny. Because it was like, they snuck past the mid floor, which is where a bunch of kobolds were sleeping, got up to the 3rd floor, decimated like half of them up there with a fireball. And then that woke up the other kobolds started coming up the stairs, and the cleric cast Spirit Guardians right at the stairs. So the
Yeah, and they
kobolds
just
would just walk into it and be like swarmed like piranha by these Spirit Guardians. So it's just like, yeah, they're just like meat going into a fucking grinder and coming out mincemeat on the other side.
yeah.
And they're just like, oh god, no. Like, are we the bad guys now, guys? We just bullied these kobolds.
Yeah. And that is something I don't like about many like books is that the character just keeps running into tougher and tougher obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
Why is he not running into anything less powerful than him?
Mm-hmm.
It's my big problem with a lot of animes like Naruto and stuff is that you don't, and I'm sure behind the scenes in all these shows they do all this and go on other adventures and whatnot, and you're just seeing like the main story. But like I want to see when they just walk in somewhere and are just underestimated and everyone gets demolished. I want more of that.
Have you watched Invincible yet?
What is that?
It's an superhero animation that's on Amazon Prime. Do you care if I spoil some of it for you?
No. Go ahead.
Okay, spoiler alert if anyone's watching and hasn't watched Invincible yet. So the Superman of this world is called Omni-Man. Now, he's very close to Superman, beside a few things. And he's awesome because he looks like fucking Tom Selleck. Like, it just looks like a ripped as shit fucking Tom Selleck. Mustache and everything. So Omni-Man is just like Superman, alien race, yada yada yada. The difference is this race is like galaxy conquestors.
Oh, hold up. Wait, no. I know this guy from the meme.
Yeah, the Think. That's his son on the ground, by the way.
Yeah,
He's yelling at.
What's 17 more years? I can always make another one.
Yeah, because he's just like beating the absolute shit. So, Omni-Man, it goes into it pretty much like every fight that shows Omni-Man besides one. It pretty much shows that this dude is like so much more powerful than everyone. So like nearly every fight besides like one, which is in the first episode at like the last 15 minutes, just absolute shows him like wrecking fucking face. Like one of the better scenes is like this aliens invading and Omni-Man goes through their portal and is on their planet now. And there's just like hundreds of dudes with guns aiming at him and he just turns around and goes, "All right." And just like destroys their planet. Not a scratch fucking on him. He's flying through buildings with the shockwave behind him destroying the rest of the city. So like it just goes into where it's like this dude is like the absolute, from the power scale we see now, he's like top fucking tier. Apparently according to like the comics and stuff, there are some people who are stronger than him. And there are some people who are on equal footing of him. But like so far in like season 1, it's just like everyone's weaker than him. And it just shows him like not giving an absolute fuck.
Alright, so I've been reading this web novel.
Which novel?
Fun app. It's a web novel.
Okay.
It's called Mutagen.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody go download the app. The company is kind of...
We're not sponsored.
Not sponsored, but if they would like to sponsor us, I will say they are kind of money hungry, but you know, that comes with it. But great book.
Mm-hmm.
Great book. And it's exactly what I wanted to see. Is like, yes, there's fights where the character struggles and almost dies, and he comes out even more powerful. But there's also scenes where bandits come up on him and he just sighs and then kills all of them with no remorse. And it's like, who's your boss? And then just goes destroys their whole base. And I love it so much.
All right.
My only problem with it is that the author is Filipino, and so there's a lot of like Filipino mythology and stuff when you get deeper into it. So I'm having to Google like every 15 minutes. Like, cool. What is this creature?
Oh, okay. You're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Can I also? That was a weird glitch on Discord. Extremely hard sidebar just for like general D&D stuff. It is really weird when you're so ingrained into it, where you're like, oh, a kobold. I know what a kobold is. Yeah. And then you get like new players and you're like, yeah, it's a kobold. And you completely just space. They don't know what a fucking kobold looks like. That is always for me. Like, I'll do it. I'll say kobolds, and I'm like, fuck, they don't know what that looks like. All right.
See,
so they're these weird snouted lizard people.
I like to take the approach of not telling them what the creature is and describing the creature to them.
Yeah, a lot of times that works. And I want to take that, and I try to take that much more for like the exotic creatures, like the Nightwalker and stuff.
Yeah.
But with Foundry and how I tend to run things on Foundry and not hide the roles, it's just like, yeah, this is the Nightwalker. And then you guys just like, oh yeah, we have a Nightwalker, and everyone else is like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah.
So it's like
Technically, we shouldn't know the name of that.
Yeah. So like with the more common monsters like orcs, kobolds, goblins, all those like lower CR ones, like I tend to just like want to say the name, an ogre, trolls, because we all have like a general idea of how that looks.
Yeah.
And then like describe any.
The really fun thing is if you bring in new players who have like read a lot of books or read a lot of comics,
mm-hmm.
and you tell them kobold, and they think of the bipedal dogs. Because there are so many different types of kobolds.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the bigger ones is like a bipedal dog creature.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's also another one, I don't remember what it is. That's really dumb and weird.
Well, I don't know. It's also like one of those things that I always find difficult, where it's like, especially with newer players, where it's even running it in like an established like D&D universe and not like a homebrew one. It's always a thing of like, your character would know what this is. Your character would know that this is a kobold. And then when there's a like disconnect between like the character knowledge and the player knowledge about like very general stuff about the world, like I find that as I'm always kind of struggling with that, because I'm like, I always want to say like everyone knows a troll. They may not know that like a troll regenerates health and the fire stops the troll from doing that, but every farm boy would have grown up with with bedtime stories of, if you see a troll, get a torch, because they're afraid of it. They know that they're afraid of fire, but they don't know why. They don't know that they're weak to fire. They just know they don't like it. So, because that's one of those things where it's like everyone would have, like, we still have, child's tales of the Black Plague.
Fun fact.
Hundreds of years later.
Yeah, that's why I actually main wizard a lot, is because I have a lot of meta knowledge.
Yeah. And it just makes it easier.
Yeah. And I like to main intelligence builds so I can use my meta knowledge. So I can say, DM, would my character know what this creature is?
Yeah.
And you say, I don't know, roll Arcana or History, and I have a really high score in that.
Mm-hmm.
So you would tell me that I know what this is, and I can then use my meta knowledge.
Yeah. And we're kind of straying from a lot of places, but so like that's why, I kind of enjoy it a lot. Think it's a good thing for like someone with a history proficiency to label what history they're proficient in. Because like just because you have a proficiency in history, it's like when someone studies history, they tend to study like a subculture or a general age of the world. They don't know everything about history, where they're like, I'm a World War I historian. I know more than most people do about World War I. They know some stuff about other history, but their main thing is World War I.
And so then there's but that's like micro history. There's also people that study macro history, which they may not know very much about World War II, but they know why it happened. And they know a bunch about all history.
Yeah.
They know a little bit about everything, but not a lot about one thing.
But here's where things start to get different. Then you're moving into, because like already, like this is always one of the big things is already our world, our IRL Earth, has a lot of different cultures, has a lot of history there. Some of it lost because of wars, or the culture didn't have like writings on it. But now we're in a fantasy world where there's elves, subgroups of elves that are going to have their own cultures. We have different realms of existence that are going to have their own races with their own cultures there, or races that exist in the Primaterium, but they have a different culture because they grew up in the freaking plane of fire, so they experience the world and see the world differently because of that. No, you have the elves that live on the main world with the humans and the dwarfs and the gnomes, but then you have the elves that live in the Feywild. They're going to have very different cultures in how they go about things. So, like going, okay, I have proficiency in history. Well, do you have like general history knowledge about the world? But about this world or about Faerun? Or not Faerun, Feywild. Or this other plane of existence. Like, did you spend your time studying that? Because that's going to have its own, thousands of years of history written about it. Wars that occurred there. Cultures that existed there. Races that existed there.
I have proficiency in religion, and I have no idea why I would.
So it's like religion. Like, okay, yeah, well, I know of this thing that happened here, but what about somewhere else?
I would say the reason Loomis would have proficiency in these things is just to know more.
Well, I wouldn't say like the reason. It would be what area do you have?
With religion, he would focus on all religions.
Mm-hmm.
He would want to have knowledge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he may not have all the knowledge on each religion,
mm-hmm.
but he would want to have knowledge of every religion he could.
It would be aware of it and aware of like the major practices and beliefs, but not.
Yeah.
You didn't spend the 10 years of theophilosophy going into all the philosophical teachings of X religion.
Yeah. Now, as for nature, he would have studied creatures specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Just to know everything about these creatures, because he does have interest in, as his background says, organic enchantment, and this all stems back to his search for immortality. It's just
right.
Ways to make flesh bodies better. That is a very bad way to say that, but
make the soft and squishy less soft and squishy.
Make my squidgy bits less squidgy.
Yeah, so like another thing would be like Arcana. Back to the root of the reason of this is so like magic is always like a weird thing throughout fantasy in general. You have different sources of it, different flows of it, purposes, and how it shows up in the world. Now, Arcana knowledge, it's like, okay, so what if the celestial objects in the sky affected your spell casting? Now, what if, like, the location of the moon, what constellation, like, let's say, like, astrology was real, but instead of, like, affecting personalities, it affected casting. So, like, this constellation
Your wording there is going to piss off some people, but... So,
whatever.
If astrology was real?
Whatever. Fuck off. We're talking about fantasy stuff. if you know what, fuck it. Let's do this. If someone here sees this and wants to go, this motherfucker says astrology's fake, I'm gonna convince him to get astrology. Come on. We'll do it. I'll have a conversation with you about it. We'll stream it. Let's do this. So, let's say like astrology. So let's say like the constellations of the sky like affected your arcane. So a caster would have arcana knowledge, but what if their arcana knowledge was very specific to this realm? Now they moved from this realm to the Feywild, which had different stars. How much would that affect their casting? How quickly would they pick up on this stuff? How much can they alter their spell casting to counteract any changes to their casting? So it's like, did they spend that extra 5 months becoming a fucking professional on, the Outlands star system? Stars that are in the skies, constellations that exist there, the moons that exist there, and how do they affect their casting? Like, could a wizard go to another realm, have no idea about the effects from that realm on their casting, and just end up being completely fucking useless?
That's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it's... Would just having Arcana proficiency... Like, you could hand wave and just be like, yeah, you have Arcana proficiency, so of course you would have studied this. But, let's say, like, in my world, where planar travel is a very difficult thing, it has been a nearly impossible thing now, and has been impossible unless you're an extremely powerful high-level wizard for hundreds of years. Would these books about their constellations even have survived that long? So would you, having Arcana knowledge, have that knowledge? Which, by the way, this is stuff I'm actually working on right now with world building. I'm building constellations, and I'm going to set certain time periods in the world where, like certain nights and days where, or weeks where this constellation is in whatever retrograde. Bite me.
I believe planets are in retrograde, but
I don't
continue.
know. I mean, what are stars half the time? where this set of constellations is in like some sort of magical prime. So like necromancy is more powerful. This one, or the next week, this one is more this constellation's in its magical prime. So martial arts, martial weapons, hand-to-hand combat, that gains a bonus.
That would be a really cool mechanic for Loomis to work around.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, maybe like this one's in its most powerful state, and the other one isn't. So like, no, necromancy's in its most powerful state, but like evocation's in its weakest. So evocation spells get a nerf to them, but necromancy's much more powerful. Like all undead now have like a temporary hit points and a bonus to hit. Necromancy spells are half to cast. Take half the time to cast them. And the creatures made during this time are much more powerful. Permanently much more powerful.
You said you're doing this?
I am actually.
I'm filing this away in my cabinet. This will make my life both hell on earth and a whole lot better.
Yeah. and it's not just gonna affect like general magic, like the general casting of magic. Like it'll have a bonus to and nerf to like melee capabilities, where it's like, okay, this one's in its magical prime, so anyone wielding a sword during this time period of the world, people are much more hardy. Armor and gear made during this time are stronger. They've been have a slight enchantment to the very metal.
That's real weird. Well, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I believe it's about time to wrap this up.
All right. You want to do the send off?
Sure. This has been the Unnamed Podcast. Remember to let us know if you have any names for it, because we don't. And
Names are
we should
hard.
be here. Yeah. We should be here next week.
Yep.
We
Hey,
hope you'll join us for it.
If you want to fight me about astrology, we could fight.
Please. We'll see you next week.